Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is measure the hip at center back. All the way here, and I've got 10 1/4 going to the other side of that side seam. 10 1/4, I'm gonna add 1/2 inch, and that's 10 3/4. So now I'm going to measure, but I think I'll use this, 10 3/4. So that's right here. 10 3/4 is right here. And then I'm going to draw this down. And do you remember what we do now? We go straight up, which would be here, and then shave off 3/4 of an inch to here. And then I'm just gonna line this up to this and go down about like that, okay? So that would be for the waist, right? And if you see here, see how I started here, but I needed more ease, so I went out a ways. Okay, so I'm ready to put it up on the dress form. So first I'm going to give myself a little crease here at that 1 inch. Okay, looks like we're doing good. Okay. So let's go ahead and put this where it goes. All right. Okay, now, so now I have to look to balance this. Try and get that nice and balanced. And that looks, is that, I gotta move this over anyway. So if it follows the line, like it should follow down the side seam if it is balanced. That doesn't look balanced to me. Okay, I'm gonna pin it and have you guys look at it. Does that look like it's balanced here? Does it need to go this way? Like that?
That's a little better, yeah.
Okay. Good. That's right on. Instead of putting this line to the outside, I'm going to put it in a little bit. And you can kind of start, because this ended up being off this much right here, you could actually start with that being off. But it's out a little bit, not quite that much. Maybe an 1/8 off. Okay, but there's that. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is some slashing. Okay, all right. So now look at this. That's a lot. I think this just seems like a lot of ease. But it's not. Okay, I'm gonna fix this. Okay. All right, so let's see. Now, do you remember how big these darts are? Yeah. One of them is longer. I actually have I have like 3 inches here. So if I take out a 1/4 for the ease, I have 2 3/4. Divide that in half, and what do you have? Like 1 3/8. Okay. So, but she is pretty, you know, full right there. So maybe that's why I might have bigger darts. Okay, typically you have a long dart right here because it's usually flat right there. And we're going from the waist to the hip. So we usually have a longer dart to make that transition. But then right here, we usually have a smaller dart because now we're accommodating for the upper hip, okay? All right, so if I have 1 3/8 inches, then that gives me about 1 3/8 inches. That means that each side of this should be about 5/8 or a little bit more maybe. So I'm gonna come along here and I'm gonna see what the 5/8 looks like. Okay, so there's that. Let me put a pin in that and just pin it to itself. If I can, there, okay. And let's go, okay, so my first dart is on the princess seam. Okay, and then the next one, I'm gonna go over about 1 inch to 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. I think I'll do right here. Okay, and then I need to make sure I have ease. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my ease. Okay, so there's my 1/4 inch. Here's this. And that should be 5/8. Okay, so then we'll look at this. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up a little bit. I think this needs to come up. We don't want any extra length right here. Okay, and then I look at this dart. This dart needs to end above the hip, but look at what happens. And I'm also gonna push my ease over because it's kind of in the way. So when I go down like this, where does this wanna, it looks like the dart's a little bit too big. Can you see how at the end, where I wanna end, it's still really far from the body. So that dart might be a little bit too big. And then when I look at this one, oh, and this has to follow the princess line, which means it should go over here. And it's still a little bit too big because it's, so what if I were to make that dart a little bit smaller, bring that over, and bring this dart over, and then I think I'm going to take a little bit off. Okay. So that looks better. And that looks like it's ending about right here. See where, can you guys see where it's ending? Like about here where it starts, but it's still quite a ways off the, and I think my dart could be a little smaller. The waist is kind of pulling. But I have a 1/2 inch here, and I want about 1 inch up here. So that looks, this could be a little bit, okay, anyway, I could sit here and play with it more, but we need to move on. And I think this is too close. Okay. This is following here. And this needs to go over here more. So maybe I need, if I distribute that a little bit more, I think I'd be okay. Okay, let's get a few a pin to end this dart. And I think it wants to end about right here. So if I spread, get my ease out of the way. And see, that's kind of, if we pull that up a bit. Pins, do I have 2 pins? Yes. Okay, now this one should end up here. It's really big. Okay, I'm gonna take this over more. I'm gonna make these darts long. I'm gonna make this long because she's fuller right through here. Instead of being fuller here, she's got more there. So this is gonna be a longer dart. So it's gonna be about right here. Okay, so did you see what I had to do? I know you guys are tired, but okay. So this one came down longer than this one. So a lot of times when I'm fitting students, this dart will end up being longer instead of just way up here. And this one will, usually you want to end it a couple inches above the hip line. So I made this one longer because this is a fuller body form. Okay, let's go ahead and mark it.